Yeah, he's still coming. Hello, everyone out there. If there's anybody watching, no, we are here. So, anyways, we're still waiting on Will to show up, but we decided just to go live. He's having some technical issues, but hopefully he'll get on and join us. But anyways, so you just want to talk crap for a little while until he gets on, or
Sure.
he can join us. So, but
So I finally decided to say screw it and watch The Last Skywalker. And
oh
I
no,
hated every second of it. I fell asleep. Alright, so I had to stop it and then stop watching it for a while and then start it back up again, watch a few minutes of it. It just,
it's like me in the Last Jedi.
it was so bad.
Dude, you know how many times I stopped The Last Jedi? I literally started it and I was like, I knew, because I knew what was going to happen in the movie.
I knew it was
like,
going to be bad, but oh my gosh. That's why I was
as
texting
soon
you
as
about it
Luke
the other
threw
day.
that
I was like,
yes, you know, in the last trailer, as soon as Luke threw his lightsaber away, I was just like, done. I can't fucking do this. I would stop it. I would walk away, and I try to, like, a couple days
well,
later.
then they had
I
Luke, catch it. Okay, here's the thing.
Oh, I know. It was terrible.
Here's the thing. Here's the
great.
thing. The Sea Fighter, what are those called? They're Sea Fighters? I can't remember what they're called.
What are you, the TIE Fighters?
Yeah, the TIE Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the TIE Fighters, they cannot warp, okay?
Oh,
they can't even warp once. Okay, hold on. They can't warp once. But you didn't have a warp like 20,000 times.
Yeah, they're literally, if you actually knew anything about Star Wars.
If you remember back in the old day, the Millennium Falcon warped once and had to have repairs done.
Well, yeah, that was because
of the warps. Because it was damaged. But warping multiple times can really destroy the engine and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you
this thing warped like 20,000 times.
I know.
It was fine.
The funniest thing is, though, if you actually watch the original thing, when he's like, we need to get out of here, we're going to get trapped, you need to warp. And Han Solo literally says, if you don't know where you're going, you have to wait till the computers calculate your warp trajectory, because there's warp paths throughout the universe. If you don't, you're going to run into a sun. He literally said this. He's like, you can't just warp blindly.
Right. And these people warping blindly over and over and over.
Into planets.
I don't know.
And if you didn't, and literally in The Last Jedi, that fucking bitch warps and destroys like half the fleet when she does it, right? Kills herself and like destroys the main ship and damages a bunch of shit. Right. Imagine warping into a planet and out. You know how much damage you're going to do to that fucking planet? You're going to warp out and go.
Yep. It's just,
I literally watched that part. I was like, did anybody do research?
Oh, plus did
anybody do research?
There are so many. Like, okay, all right. C-3PO. Okay, at least they gave him his memory back. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was a fucking dumb. They built this whole thing.
Here's the thing. They had a hold on. They had a robot that was a wheel with a cone on it that knew where the fuck they were supposed to go anyway. So why did they even have to mess with C-3PO's memory in the first place? They didn't have to. Because oh my gosh,
that was the dumbest robot I've ever seen. By the way, I was like, what the fuck is that
cone robot? At least it was a little funny.
They go for a fucking
the fact that they made C-3PO annoying the entire movie pisses me off. Okay. Yeah. They literally talked about how annoying he was every single scene. And it was the general. It was the new general of the whole force, the whole Republic, telling everybody how annoying he is and telling him to shut up every time he talked. I was like, oh my goodness. Literally my
R2 was in like 2 seconds.
I know he was only in the movie for like, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe total. I don't know. He like gave the memory back. He gave the memory back to C-3PO.
Yeah,
was funny. It was all right, but seriously,
dude,
like R2. Hold on, R2 wasn't there when C-3PO like lost his memory. He looked over at his friends. Oh, I have to look at all my friends. R2's not there. Luke Skywalker's not there.
I know.
Like
you don't
all
know
the people. All the people who are actually best friends with the dude wasn't even in the room. It was the people that called him annoying. Then he was stupid. Kept talking about dumb things about him. And then he calls these people friends. I'm like, oh my lord.
I know. It was so messed up. It really was. What it was is JJ was trying to do his Last Jedi and Return of the or whatever, Rise of the Palpatine. Literally, what they should have called it.
It wasn't Rise of the Skywalker at all.
No, she was like literally the Skywalkers all died.
Yeah, I mean, well, did what's his name die? I don't know. He's a Skywalker technically.
Who?
Well, he's technically a Solo, but I mean he's part Skywalker.
Oh yeah, he died. No, he died at the end. Yeah,
he did die.
He faded away. He gave his life for Rey. Like Rey died, and so he did the Force heal crap, gave his force to her,
that's right.
and then he faded away. And it was hilarious.
Here's the deal:
the Reylos lost their. If you ever watched the Reylo, you know what Reylos are?
No.
The people who are trying to ship Kylo and Rey as a couple, even though Kylo has been abusing Rey for 3 fucking movies, but they wanted them to become,
okay, and also there's no Deanna Force, by the way. None of that ever exists.
Yeah, no, that was bull.
Literally, it's never happened in the history of.
Yeah, it was Star a made-up thing.
And they created it, and they said it happened before. Oh, but it never has, not once.
Now they'll write it in. Just watch, because Lucasfilm's in charge. They'll have somebody write in a story in the past where this diadem existed, just to make it right. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I will say, at least, please.
Welcome, Will.
I will say, at least he freaking Kylo Ren threw his stupid sword into the middle of the ocean. I was like, thank God, that thing was awful. All right, well, we can talk about what we're supposed to talk about tonight now.
Yeah. So give your rating. Give your rating. What you would rate The Rise of Palpatine?
The Rise of Palpatine. 0. Actually, if I could, minus. There's the minus button. I need.
You all right there, Will?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out my full thoughts on the entirety of the sequel trilogy. In fact, today, to start the day off, hope you guys are having a good Monday, and in regards to Memorial Day, to that end, today when I was doing up the trash and recycling, as I often do on Mondays, I walked by, bumped into 2 kids who were probably not much older than my oldest niece and nephew. So Amber and Tasha's first kids. So, and they noticed my Ghostbusters t-shirt, and I pretty much said to them, oh, hey, you noticed they noticed the shirt. They made comments. They said that they watched the first one, when they were very little, and they rewatched it recently, and they watched its sequel that came out in 93. So I was like, but they didn't understand what a prequel was or what a proper sequel was. And so I said, there isn't a prequel to the Ghostbusters. There's the sequel, which is Ghostbusters 2, and a sequel to that, which will be Afterlife. So I explained that to them. And then I said, in regards to Star Wars, all 9 episodes, they're in different trilogies. The original trilogy is, 4, 5, 6. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. The quintessential Star Wars story. Now, then I went into saying, then there's the prequel trilogy, which is 1, 2, and 3. This is its own trilogy. This is the prequels, which it goes into detail of, the Clone Wars and such. Then I said the trilogy that happened recently, which is 7, 8, 9, is a mistake. And they laughed and nodded.
Oh yeah. My stepkids are, my stepdaughter is 13. My stepson just turned 10.
Yeah.
Or no, 11, sorry. 11. And they love the original Star Wars. They love the prequels. They won't even watch the new ones. Because they created Rey for teenage girls.
And the thing is that as of
Rey.
Episode 7, Rey had a good character. It's parts of 8 and the entirety of 9 that bring about a very bad side of the character, and frankly, a very poor message, because the whole dynamic between her and Kylo is a abusive guy and a girl that wants to just put him in the ground, and yet they forced a romance option.
I know. It's because Reylos. Fucking weird ass Reylos.
why would anyone want to propagate an abusive relationship?
Who knows, dude?
Dude, we've been wondering that forever. But no, it just, I don't know. But yeah, the worst part about the trilogy is Finn. Finn had the most potential build, and Boyega was a great actor, and they destroyed him because they raised him up. And then
we had the potentiality of having the chance to have a clone trooper or a stormtrooper learn the Force, which is
never happened.
Narratively unprecedented. It happened in parts of the extended universe, which is no longer canon, but it would still be interesting enough for us to look at. It would basically be like Creed, but in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Creed, so... but I've heard nothing but great and wonderful things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we got the butchering of beloved characters.
Yeah, I thought it was
going out.
Yeah,
on their own terms.
So badly.
Died due to plot.
I just don't understand, because they're literally like, he's great, he's cool, and then like the last Jedi, he's nothing but a janitor who just for the next 2 movies can go Rey.
Oh yeah, his little love thing of Rey, like, I love Rey.
They could have done it right, or they could have done it where they were both being trained by Luke as the next Jedi, and they could have done it.
No, they had her train. They had her train under Leia.
Yeah,
like the fact that in Disney canon, Leia never completed her Jedi training.
No,
she completed her training and actually was knighted in the expanded universe, though. Like,
well, she did it first, and then she quit until her kid was born, and then she went back to the Senate. But then, then she went back and finished her training.
It's just narrative inconsistencies.
Oh, I know. But it was
the way I view it is that they castrated the character of Luke Skywalker within Episode 8.
Oh, they did it worse. Did you see the new comic strip they did of Luke Skywalker recently?
No.
They made this one where he literally looks like a girl. He's got like bushy hair. He's got lipstick on. And they have literally a scene in the thing where Vader's like, he's like twirling the gun, like when he takes hands, he stops the laser bolt and steals the gun out of Han Solo's hand. He's literally twirling it, and he's like, "Come and join us." And they have Boba Fett back there doing the hip, the hip movement. Some ladies do. I was like, oh my god! And then they took, the general who was in charge of Hoth is not there anymore.
One? The one that Admiral Veers who died, or Admiral Viet who took after him?
Viet. It's one of them. I can't remember which one, but it's the main guy who's in the thing with Leia, who's always talking to her on Hoth.
Tarkin? Or
no, not Tarkin.
Oh, you mean the rebel?
Yeah, the rebel.
Yeah, what about him?
Well, he's gone. Like in this comic strip, they took him out, and Leia's there, and she's called General.
She was made General after Hoth, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they pretty much got rid of his character completely in this comic strip, and it looks so bad. It's like it makes Luke look like a lady, so it completely feminizes his character, like absolutely. And a lot of people are like, "Well, this is obvious what's happening."
I mean, he was supposed to, like, look-wise, he was supposed to look like a shorter, blonder Anakin. And that's what Mark Hamill pretty much looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And Leia was supposed to take more after the mom and the grandma. Hence, she's got the dark brown hair. But, like, as it stands, when it comes to Star Wars and media and what I ingest or what I take in anymore, I care about the original trilogy. I care about the prequels. I care about Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. And the Old Republic. I care about the Legends of the Jedi, which is the comic series, Ula Keldroma, Exar Kun, that old chestnut. The jury's still out about, or the jury's still in about Mandalorian, and my only issue with, what is it? the Clone Wars 3D series is that we had a perfectly functioning micro series. And like, I like the character of Ahsoka, but narratively speaking, she has no reason to be there.
Yeah.
Like, if she were a Jedi student that didn't get knighted, and then the Purge happened, that would have made more sense.
But, yeah, I was actually surprised they went after her because, because they're like, we gotta kill a Jedi. I'm like, she's not a Jedi. And they're like,
she left the Order a year before the Siege of Mandalore, if I remember correctly.
They're like, yeah, we got special orders to make sure we take you out. I was like,
what? Yeah, but that last scene, though, I gotta say, that was the worst of all of it. I have the power of all of the Sith. I have the power of all the Jedi.
And that's the thing, though. The Sith, the Jedi are not the names of the Force. The Force in and of itself is, like I talked about this before, it's life, and then it's life when you try to force it into something that it's not.
Yeah.
And the Sith are a religion. The Jedi are a religion. And in doing so, the Sith are doomed to fail regardless because of the way that they function and the way and what they advocate. Now, the pursuit of power is not a bad thing, but it's the pursuit of dominance of life that is the issue. When it comes to the Jedi, it was only after the Ruusan Accords and the extended continuity, in the extended universe at least, it was the Ruusan Accords 1,000 years ago. So this is during the time of like Valentine Farfalla, Lord Hoth, the Jedi Barony, Darth Bane, Darth Azana, Darth Incognus, old stuff. But it was only during that time when, after that, the Jedi demilitarized and they were forced into being basically just the watchdogs of the Republic instead of the utmost advocates of peace and civility, because they were both keepers of the peace and soldiers. Because you take a Jedi from before the Ruusan Accords and match them against most, if not all, the Jedi before, like afterwards, outside of the New Order that Luke made after after Return of the Jedi. So it's after Jedi Outcast. So Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. So take any of them from then, and they can stack up pretty well against most people from the Clone War era or match them. The only people within the Clone Wars, combatively speaking, that were even up to snuff were like Plo Koon, Master Shak Ti, Master Luminara, Ki-Adi-Mundi to some extent, Kit Fisto, kind of. Form 1 is useful, but it's the default. You can only do so much with vanilla ice cream. You can get Neapolitan, but that's like something greater than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
my food analogy aside, like, Jedi are supposed to have connections. They're supposed to get involved. If you're supposed to be a steward of life, you must protect life.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you can control life, because people die every day, and it sucks. And people die for stuff they believe in, whether it's great things or poor things. That's up for history to decide, but they have that choice to make, and all you can really do is help them during their time and pray for them after they have to deal with the consequences, and help clean up after the fallout. That really is all you can do. To that end, though, like, the biggest issue is that there's growth, there's character development, there's flaws. That's what a good character is.
Yeah.
Like, I guess this is an example. Take Naruto. It's an anime, manga, one of the previous big 3 Shonen Jump sellers.
Oh yeah, I know about it.
And just for the sake of any form of analogy, most of the characters, outside of like a few prodigies here and there, work their butt off every step of the way. And even the prodigies, when they fall hard, and either they get back up or they just wind up dying.
Yeah.
So
see, that's something I didn't like about
but
the Avatar. Like, I know it's a little different, but
Avatar: The Last Airbender, or like Avatar the movie,
or Legend of Korra.
The Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, okay.
The entire series of it. Okay, so half of the time, if you really watch it carefully, half of the time he gets in these sticky situations, he doesn't get himself out of it. It's his ancestors that take over his body, that utilize all of his power to the fullest extent of might, and get him out of it.
But
and he never really learns how to do everything correctly. Like he doesn't.
This is true. He does He is a master of airbending. That is a fact.
Yes, but but all the other elements, it takes.
He's still learning. They take years.
Yeah.
Years to master.
Right.
The one before him took, I think, over 20 years, 20 to 15 years to fully master the other elements.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It takes. It's because it's all analogous to self-actualization. That takes time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And it's just
every time he fights,
he
gets taken over and uses. Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what I don't like about it.
And that is kind of Aang's biggest failing. Because sorry to take over the conversation, but
no, go for it.
The movie was horrible. You didn't see the movie?
I've seen the movie.
Yeah, the movie is terrible. The series itself, I liked it when I was a kid, but I never really analyzed it or thought about it. I just kind of went with it. And now that I'm, older and was analyzing and watching this thing and everything else I know about all the other fantasy worlds that I know about, I'm just like, oh my gosh, he just gets taken over again and uses full stick. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. The thing about Last Airbender, it is really good, but it's those small things, because despite his reliance on the Avatar state and his skill with airbending, and he does come to his own as a waterbender, earthbender, and firebender.
Yeah.
He's never truly the Avatar. He's always been an air nomad. That is his biggest failing. Because the thing is that he's not willing to make that tough decision when it came to handling the Fire Lord. And you can, keep the character have that form of narrative purity, but in doing so, you would have to remove the villain another way. And the only other way I could have seen Ozai going out is him just wind up resulting in his own death. Him causing his own death, which frankly would have been better anyway, but what do I know? It just kind of go to show that Aang was always an airbender. He was never truly
that's what I feel about it.
Never really
if they would have just stuck with him being like an airbender, he had been a great character. But because every time he used any other element up until he learns, but he doesn't ever master any of the other elements per se. He just knows how to use them in certain aspects.
He was proficient, but he did not have mastery. Right. He had, because technical mastery takes years.
Right.
His successor spent 13, 14. She was.
But 17 he never really worked hard at any of it.
When she mastered.
That's the other thing. He never really, truly put in the effort and worked his butt off for any of it. It was
he spent the span of a year trying to master 3 different elements at the same time. That is something, but it was the rush of having to have that understanding, then master the Avatar state, which has a compelling narrative. But if you're going for that long burn of truly mastery of something,
to create a character, you go back to like Goku or any of those. It takes you want to slowly build them up. You want to slowly, gradually
get them
going, and then put certain things. Like you can show some of their power a little bit, like where they accidentally do something or whatever. But you want to make sure that you're not taking away the hard working aspect of it and the feel of him growing. What they did with Aang is they just super speeded it, like pushing it through light speed.
They didn't do much better with his successor, which is a pity.
Yeah.
And the thing is the avatars before him, Kyoshi didn't figure out she was the Avatar until she was in her late teens.
Mm-hmm.
And she then went on to be not only the longest living Avatar for a span of like 235 some odd years. She learned, she made sacrifices, she made tough choices, and she paid the consequences for her actions time and time again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but there's just so many good things. Like, Avatar could have been amazing. Could have been just absolutely astonishing, but they just went through it. That's all it was. And that's what it feels like.
It's good, but it falls into the realm of I think the word is absurdism. I think it's the word I'm looking for. Because he was a bending savant. Both Aang and Korra were. They have their own personal issues and things that they couldn't quite get over, and their personal failings is that Aang will always be the monk. There's good and bad things with that. Korra will always be Korra. She will always be there for her friends and family. And in doing so, she has almost caused calamity, war, and a second world war in the span of only 4 years. Which is terrifying when you think about it, because despite the fact that they say, like in season 4 or series 4, the main antagonist, Kuvira, they say, oh, she's a bad person, she's putting him in camps. Show us.
Right.
But they don't. As far as we know, that could just simply be arbitrary bullcrap that is being said for the sake of propaganda. Yeah, she force chokes one guy, but that guy in question was trying to supplant over 3 hard-won years of someone trying to unify a nation. There's only so much ludonarrative dissonance is what I'm looking for, I think. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Plus, narratively speaking, it would have made more sense for Korra to have failed, much like in the same vein that Roku did, causing another world war, because then we would have gotten a second world war Avatar. Just saying, a World War II setting of Avatar would be really good, especially with an earthbender, because you've got lava bending, metal bending, seismic sensing, the ability to technically become immortal, because that's a thing that they can do. Not many of them do. It's a lot of stuff you can do. A lot of stuff you can do. But
yeah.
It's the failing. It is the failing of a rushed narrative.
So, all right. Now that we've talked about all the failings of different, fantasies and stories that all these big media corporations have taken over and decided to screw the fans, let's talk about something where fans actually won.
Yep, the Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut's finally
Snyder Cut's finally happening. Yep. And the new Warriors are getting axed, by the way.
Did they?
Pretty much from what I've been hearing.
Dude, that would have been terrible.
Mighty
God.
But yeah, I mean, that just makes me excited.
It's all about
happy.
execution.
Now, is it going to be what we really want it to be? I don't know, but I'm glad the fans have finally won, and Snyder Cut is coming out.
What I've seen of it looks pretty interesting, actually, because, if you don't know, the Justice League we did see, it was like 80% redone.
Joss Whedon. A lot of Joss Whedon. A lot of Joss Whedon. A lot of the Whedisms.
Yeah.
A lot of the Whedisms.
So I liked Man of Steel, and I liked Wonder Woman.
I liked
a lot
parts of Dawn of Justice. I just feel like if we had Batman vs Superman, then a movie that is Dawn of Justice, where you have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman throwing hands against Darks, Doomsday would have been more interesting.
They've hinted that. Did you not hint? Did you guys see that? One of the actors came out and he's like, "I did play a certain character on the Snyder Cut. Would you like to see it?" And he leaves, and then a dark side thing comes up. I was like, "Oh, they're gonna have dark side in the Snyder Cut. Oh, that'd be awesome." Well, I mean, there's supposed to be 2 movies. If you didn't know,
we did go up against. Who was it? It's either Steppenwolf or somebody else.
Yeah, Steppenwolf.
What's that Steppenwolf?
That was Steppenwolf.
I thought he had a mullet, but or I could just be thinking of the animated series. Either way, I'm glad that we're going to see Snyder's original interpretation, because as it stands, narratively speaking, the only way to save the DC cinematic universe
is for Snyder is for this to be really good. If this is really good,
be really good, and then for a flashpoint to happen, or like a Crisis on Infinite Earths, or Dr. Fate comes out of nowhere and says, beware, and just hard resets the entire series.
Right.
Because
maybe I would like to see the Batman. They've already hinted that there was supposed to be another Batman movie. It was supposed to have Batman versus Deathstroke. And I was like, what?
As it stands, from what I know, we're getting the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and I am hopeful for that. Guys, the guy's a good actor. He was in one series of movies that no one, that only like a handful of them actually recovered from, and the rest of them just opted to go to other formats of thespian ship, aside from like 2 other people.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad for the fans though, because they know they've been fighting for years. They did. If you guys didn't know, the reason Snyder left was because of his daughter.
Yeah.
So that was sad, and then they used that to throw him out, and that was really. WB should not have done that. That was terrible. I'm glad AT&T bought him because this is AT&T.
Yeah, Warner Bros are some cutthroat pieces of shit.
Yeah, AT&T now owns them, and AT&T is like, we want to make money, and these Snyder Cut guys want Snyder Cut. So you're going to release it on our new platform. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, Sony is teaming up with HBO for certain things with HBO Max. So, in regards to that, we're getting a Last of Us series. Now, I don't give a crap about The Last of Us. Never have, never will. Played through the first one, got real disappointed real fast. Now, and I also don't give a shit about the second one. Now, I am, however, hopeful for the fact that I want to see a Sly Cooper TV show. I want us to finally get that movie that they promised us. I would like to get more stuff from Ratchet and Clank. Give us stuff from Jak and Dexter.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be
amazing. Dexter used to be one of my favorite games.
I miss Jak and Dexter.
Give us some TLC for the PlayStation All Stars. You know what I mean? Like, heck, even Devil May Cry knocked it out of the park with the 5th one.
Yeah,
I've had some good proper fun playing that game. But
I miss the good old classic games that just were amazing, and just all these games now they're throwing these early accesses out without actually finishing the game, and just terrible game.
But I'm hopeful.
Like, I miss the games that were 7 years. It took 6-7 years to develop and create and master and release. Those are the games of the. That was our life. And all these other games are coming out within a year or 2 years, and they're throwing them together, and they have bad servers. They're just trash games.
Speaking of which, can I talk about Final Fantasy real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so in regards to Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII started developing like 5 years ago or more, give or take. They started working on it. They started working on it around the time that they announced the rebranding of Final Fantasy Versus 13 into Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
So with that, I played the remake of Final Fantasy VII. I liked it a lot because, frankly, they do what J.J. Abrams did to Star Trek, but did it well.
Yeah.
Well, granted, I liked Beyond, and I liked the first one. I didn't care for Into Darkness purely because of the fact that while I liked Cumberbatch as Khan, you don't have to redo Wrath of Khan. It's like James Bond. They made Thunderball twice. But back to it. I really liked Remake. It does respect to the original, and it gives enough.
I haven't played it yet.
New life.
Daniel has. Daniel knows. So.
I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the PC version because that's the one I'm going to play.
That's understandable.
Because I cannot wait to see it in 2K, max graphics, max frames, everything else.
Oh, it's really beautiful.
Have you played Crisis Core?
I have not.
Okay. Then you make me sad. So be it.
Did I? Crisis Core. I'm gonna look this up now.
Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII is a part of the Final Fantasy VII compilation. You've got Before Crisis, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children, and then technically Dirge Cerberus. Now,
Crisis Core sounds familiar, and I just cannot.
It's where you get to play as Zack, aka the best male character.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah.
You know? Like the hero's hero.
Yeah, it wasn't PC, PS4,
it was on the PSP. It was on the
PSP. Yeah.
It came out along.
I remember. Yeah,
came out along with Kingdom Hearts: Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, I played that. Yeah,
I played the crap out of that game. Which I'll be tying into that with the finishing of this. But basically, in summary, Final Fantasy VII. It's in a weird league of its own when it comes to fantasy games and games in general. It's kind of in the same vein as Chrono Trigger. You know, it's like Darkside. Darkside is. Final Fantasy VII is. You know? You get what I mean?
It's not on PC. It's on PS.
Yeah. And going into like Kingdom Hearts is...
I don't have a PS. I'll probably try to emulate it somehow.
I view it in the same weird vein as John Wick, because not for tone consistency, yes, because has very consistent tone, very consistent story, builds upon it, and reveals more things as you go. You never know what's going to happen, and frankly, I'm okay with that. It's good for
I like
theory.
that. I like the not knowing about what would have been happened, but
it's good for theory craft. But bringing into it, they both Kingdom Hearts and John Wick have complete creative freedom. They can do whatever the crap they want.
Yeah.
If in John Wick 4, you know, John Wick decides, hey, I'm going to become a mime, or he reveals that he has a stand power and shows that he is a JoJo. If you've ever heard of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I've heard it. I just never watched it.
It is so very weird. I would recommend watching part 2 than part 1 in that, like part 2, part 1, part 3. And after that, like part 4 is really good, and it's got a good mystery slow burn to it. Part 5 is part 5 is super flamboyant, but also really, really good. And part 6 is, I mean, if you had to ever end a series, you could just go through part 6 and just stop there. You know, It's good. It's really good. Part 7, America, because it's called part 7 for JoJo is called Steel Ball Run, and it's based in America. So think shooting people with steel balls via slingshots or with your own bare hands in the use of advanced geometry and sunlight karate to create an infinite spin. Yeah, it's so weird and it's amazing. Now, like I said, going back to Kingdom Hearts and John Wick, very creative. You have the ability to do whatever you want. You know, which is
John Wick I watched the second one. I didn't watch the first one.
I've seen the first and second.
Watch the second one though.
And
I so recommend the first one.
I like John Wick. John Wick is a great movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's serious, he's focused, he's a dog person. It's Keanu Reeves. You know, he's got the best work. He's got one of the best work ethics, period, and he's got the best work ethic that I've seen in an actor in showbiz outside.
Well, if you don't know, if you actually do any research on him, he actually lives in a tiny little apartment, and he takes a train to Hollywood every day.
Which is
he doesn't live in like one of those massive mansions, you know, like most of Hollywood who would be like on his level.
Oh, dude, if I made the money he made, I would live in a 2-bedroom apartment or just a single white house.
Yeah, he gives most of, like, if I remember right, he donates most of his money to different charities and stuff that he makes through his movies. So,
which is perfectly understandable and something that most people should do.
Hold on. He does have a 41-acre house.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that ain't bad.
Yeah, that's nothing.
But it's huge.
It's huge, but
massive.
All I know is that if I wanted to live in a palace, I'd go conquer one of the old parts of Europe or
I
something.
would want to live in a legit palace, or I would just go back and buy out the Cunningham Castle in Ireland, and I'd live there.
Are we
That's
the
what I'd
Irish?
do.
That brings me back. Are we the Irish Cunninghams or the Scottish Cunninghams?
I think we have both. I honestly
That
think
makes
we have
more
both.
sense, given A, hair, and B, just
height, hair. I don't know.
temperament.
Temperament.
It depends on which person you're talking to.
Yep.
Yeah. But back on subject, the Snyder Cut, I'm glad for the fans. There have been a lot of attacks, and it's kind of sad. I did see a lot of people from even the community, like the Phantom Menace community, where they were like, "Oh, it's gonna be dumb. Who cares?" And it's like, guys, come on, just like it was literally the day they got announced. The people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be stupid. Who cares?"
There was a time,
Snyder, and it's like, what? Why are you guys attacking? This is the fandom.
Yeah,
fans won.
This is something that the creator and the fans have all agreed and strived to do for years. Frankly, if, say, for example, out of nowhere, George Lucas and Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and who is it? Bob Iger, who's in charge of Disney presently?
Yeah, Bob Iger.
Yeah.
Okay, so if those four dudes came on to like whatever form of debriefing room or what do people call it? I don't know. Had a public service announcement, basically a PSA, and said, "Hey, we're going to make a Lucas cut of the sequel trilogy." I know several people who would just lose their minds for good and for bad because.
Of course, well, Access Media would lose their fucking shit over it. They'd be like, "Whoa!"
They made a Lucas cut of the entire
he did
redo of the entire.
If trilogy. You don't know, he had the entire sequel trilogy written out. When Disney bought him, he handed them all 3 movie scripts. He had them all written out, all what he wanted to do with the sequel trilogy. He gave them it, and he's like, "I have all 3 movies already written, done. All you have to do is make them." And then I have all my books, all my comics, all my, this entire treasure trove. And they're like, "Of course." And Kathleen Kennedy was literally sitting across the fucking table from him. And she's like, "We will respect your characters. We will honor what you wanted." And as soon as he signed the paper, she's like, "Fuck that. We do what we want."
And the sad thing about it is that narratively speaking, everything that happened in Episode 7 happens in episodes 1 through, well, technically episodes 4 through 6.
Yeah.
Minus the hand chopping off. There's no hand chopping.
Yeah, they won't allow that in Disney. You'll never see anybody lose body parts because it's Disney. It's too much for them. You can see them get chopped in through the stomach, but you're not going to see them lose body parts.
Well, they're not even going to get chopped in the stomach. As soon as they get stabbed, they're going to be like, "Force heal! Force heal! Oh my god, I can't believe I just did that! Force heal! Force heal! Force heal!"
Do you know how many people laughed about that? They're like, "Can you imagine if they had force healing when Obi-Wan
is indeed a thing, but the thing about force healing is that it takes an immeasurable reverence of the force, something that most don't
knock you out.
Have.
Right.
It's like a
if you remember in episode I can't remember when Yoda was lifting up the X-wing, correct?
Yeah. Yes,
Yoda, after he opens up, he literally passes out for a minute or whatever. He needs to replenish that force. Mm-hmm. She stops an entire ship from leaving the atmosphere and doesn't even touch her.
Then force lightnings it.
Yeah, and then does that. And I was like,
oh my god! When that happened, I literally just laughed. I
lost it as soon as she did that. And then on top of that, she waved it. I don't mind that she was able to tell those guys, she was there, whatever, happy. I don't mind, except for the fact of her age and that she really just learned about the Force.
Well, if you don't, they have a thing where she downloaded all of Kylo Ren's knowledge of the Force.
I'm sorry, but if that were a thing, I'm pretty sure that the Jedi as a whole wouldn't have been wiped out.
No,
they would have figured that out a long time ago. They would have like, "Hey, young students, instead of training for 10 years, put this thing on your head and let me download my knowledge into your mind.
But even though she downloaded Kylo Ren is not like, I'm not going to say Kylo Ren's a master in the Force. He definitely knows more than she does. But
he's what's the best way to describe him? He's like
the
Reddit
Jason.
He's the equivalent of what happens when you make all the bad choices with Darth Revan with absolutely no nuance. Yeah. Because, like, in Star
Wars, he is the worst actor to play that role. The worst actor to play that role.
Because Adam Driver is good in other things.
Yeah, Adam Driver is a good actor.
Just doesn't have the...
I'm not scared of him. I'm sorry, but I'm not. When I look at him, I'm like, your anger? Is that anger, or are you happy right now? I can't tell.
He just literally looked like Emo Vader.
He looked slightly annoyed most of the time. Which is really perfectly understandable. Frankly, if I was someone with his chops, with his acting chops,
I wouldn't do it. I would do it. I'd be like, you want me to read what? You want me to read what? Nope.
Want me to destroy my mask for no fucking reason and then put it back on for 2 seconds of the next movie and then lose it?
The lady that plays the Admiral with the pink hair in episode 8 is the doctor / professor from Jurassic Park.
Really?
Yeah. So, like, you have someone with that type of, skill and history in sci-fi, and you turn her into someone that actively withholds information for the sake of a shock surprise,
or because she can berate the male. That was all it was, so they can berate the male character.
Nobody's perfect, but there's no reason to berate people because everyone makes mistakes.
I know. Well,
no one is perfect.
This is Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm. It's a feminist movement. Men are bad, women are good. That's all you need to know. And then if you look at it through those eyes, you can tell where everything went wrong.
Oh, that's an honest-to-God tragedy, given the fact that everyone makes.
That's why they had to destroy Luke, bring up Leia, make Han a failed father. All the male characters pretty much were trashed throughout the entire series.
Yep.
And the women, without the women, nothing would have worked. Like Rey, we need Rey, we need Rey, we need Rey. Like,
but that's not a good narrative character. That's not something you're inspired to.
No, well, that's why it failed. Or that's why it failed.
Terrible writers.
You make mistakes. You grow from them. No one's perfect.
But she's not gonna grow. Like, none of these people that are
she did grow. They tried to in the third movie act like she was training, and they tried to give her an arc where she's struggling with her anger and her patience. Like
she never looked angry. I'm sorry, but she never looked angry. Every time he's like, "Oh, strike me down with your anger," she's always like.
In episode 7, she looked like she was gonna, put Kylo Ren in the fucking ground. And frankly, I don't blame her if she. But the thing is that they don't capitalize on her being human. Because
she's like literally the definition of Mary Sue,
which is a tragedy because.
The whole thing.
I think Daisy really could be a good actress. And I think
done a lot from the few things that I've seen her in outside of Star Wars. She's been great.
Yeah, I just think what they did was they threw away the books, but they threw away the EU.
But they
keep taking it.
But they cannibalized it.
Yeah, then they make like Jaina and Jason. That's what Kylo and her were pretty much Jaina and Jason. It was way worse.
I hope not, because Jaina and Jason were siblings, and
I know. That's what made this thing so much weirder. Oh man, if they just followed the EU, they had all the stories they needed.
And the thing is that they didn't have to technically follow up on the Skywalker saga, because for all intents and purposes, that was episodes 1 and 6, 1 through 6.
It was pretty much done. All they could have done is like, hey, the EU's over here. That's your continuation. We're going to make new movies about a different timeline of Star Wars.
Yeah.
With different characters. People are like, all right. But no, they're like, tragedy that you love, we're going to redo it with way worse.
Yeah.
And you can't replace canon with worse canon. That'll never work.
Yeah.
Very rarely can you replace canon with good canon. Like, if you could bring something that's way better than the old stuff, then for most people, like, you know what? That was actually pretty good.
Scooby-Doo, Mystery Incorporated, the TV show that came out back in 2015.
Is that the one where the father is the villain? Or
yeah.
He
went, and the thing is that over time, like, weird things happen in that, and it's actually really good. It was actually pretty good. Everybody, character, times to shine, actual like agency in their lives. Yeah,
they didn't make the art look terrible either. I heard they made another Scooby-Doo again, and it looks horrifying.
This new Scooby-Doo, like everybody's got square faces.
It's this weird new art that I've seen around.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Everything has to be this weird, stupid looking. Like, what happened to cartoons? I'm watching my kids watch these weird ass cartoons, and I'm like, what the hell is this? They're like, oh, it's this whatever. I'm like,
I don't know anymore.
But yeah, anyways, what else we're going to talk about? I said Snyder Cut.
The DC animated cinematic universe has finally ended recently with the Apocalypse War, which frankly, I mean, it wasn't bad. I didn't care for their Teen Titans adaptation because I don't care for Damian.
Oh, is that the weird Teen Titan looking, or is that like the good one? Because I like the Teen Titans, like the one that looked good, and then they
made the old Teen Titans.
Teen Titans was good. There's parts of Teen Titans Go that were good.
Oh, good, yeah.
Like the first season,
I couldn't watch it. I was like, that's not.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't get any better. In fact, it gets worse, which is a tragedy to say. Young Justice is great, but the DC animated movies of Teen Titans are kind of meh because they just rehashed the Judas the Judas Contract and Trigon. And Trigon isn't a bad character to do because it's an interdimensional demon. You can do a lot with that, but since it's something that's already been covered both in comics and in the cartoon show, just go with something else. Yeah. Give us more crap on the Hive. That would have been interesting. Because Hive was cool. It's a literal academy where people like metahumans are cultivated into either A, supervillains, or B, soldiers of fortune. And each of them are basically a mini Deathstroke with actually having superpowers. It's you can do a lot with that. And I mean, the Hive team that we got from Teen Titans, with Jinx, Mammoth, Gizmo, whole ball of wax. Pretty good team. Consider the fact that with 3 of them, they hard stomped the Titans when they first met. And they still give them trouble. I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
I've always thought that it would be nice for us to go back to the original, the Justice League of America,
If you didn't know, they made Stargirl.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard good things.
The only problem I have is a lot of the CW started off really good.
Yeah.
Arrow season 1, 2, even I liked it until season 2 or 3. I can't remember what it was. The one I
liked it until he came back from that island and then became Batman. Basically, after that.
But
before that, he was a great character. He played well. He acted well. It was amazing. And then he did that, and then it just got weird.
Yeah. His sister took over for a while, and then I don't know.
It's a pain because Willa, I think her name is Willa Hallard. Good actress. She's been in good things. Heck, she plays Aqua in Kingdom Hearts. But why not give them the option to do good things? Why go for the lowest common denominator?
I don't know.
Hollywood.
They had Supergirl come in. I was actually pretty excited for Supergirl. Then they pretty much made her.
Supergirl was fine.
I don't know.
It's 3, and then it got weird.
From what I've observed from Supergirl, and I apologize for interrupting, but
it's fine.
It seems like a weird combination of Supergirl from the movie that came out decades ago in the 70s and the worst parts of Smallville, which are basically everything after season.
Smallville was I love Smallville, don't get me wrong. Till the last episode.
My biggest issues were Smallville was supposed to be a depiction of Clark Kent in his youth before he put on the red and blue, which is totally cool and totally fine. If that's the case, then it should have only lasted at max 5 seasons, with the 5th season culminating in him putting on the cape. Yeah. And then you could have had a sequel series of same actor, more characters added onto the cast.
He had some good actors too, because the guy who played what was his name? Yeah, he was great. Oh my god, in
that role!
I wish they made him the actual Lex Luthor in the Justice League movie. That would have been way better than the weird hairdo guy.
Yeah. Granted, Lex Luthor does have red hair, but he doesn't have a Jufro.
Yeah. I don't know. I just because I love I love that show forever. And then the last episode when they're like, they finally tease he's gonna put on the suit. I was like, finally, and then it's literally him. All you see is a red and blue blur fly up, grab fucking the Doom Planet, and just fly off. That's it. Or like, I was waiting for this epic battle of Darkseid versus him and his finally in his suit, just going at it. I was hoping for. I was like, man, this battle's gonna be epic. And they're like, oh, Green Arrow is the one who really took care of Darkseid's little people,
which makes no sense because granted, Green Arrow is nothing to sneeze at when it comes to his skills, but he's the Jolly Green Archer. He's not a planet buster.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, he takes. They had him where he takes one was it the God's bow or whatever, and banishes Darkseid's minions. And I'm like, whatever, okay, but still show Darkseid versus Superman. That's what I wanted to see. And then it's like Darkseid isn't Darkseid; he's the planet.
If you're gonna fight if you want to see Superman go toe to toe with Darkseid, I would recommend Superman, the animated series. Came out in the 90s.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it was good.
Real good. The game that came out in a tribute to it, not great, but it's infamous for a reason.
I just wish, because I was really looking forward to finally, because they teased it forever in that show. They're like, oh, Darkseid, Superman's got the suit, he's got it in there, it's just got to be worthy enough to wear it. And all of a sudden, he's finally looking at it, and you see him take it out. I was like, oh, finally, we're gonna see him in the suit, and then it just CGI flying, and you don't even see him. It's not close up. It's literally just seen as blur go through the sky and catch the planet. Darkseid's this fucking planet, and he just flies it away. Well, yeah, it's his planet, but it's he just flies it away. That's all he does. It's peep, I'm like, and it's the end. I was like, I lost my fucking mind that day. I was like, what? This is bullshit. I was so pissed. I was like, well, that just ruins the entire show for me because I was so mad. I was like, that's how they end it?
My biggest issue with Smallville is that they dragged it on longer than it should have, and frankly, didn't give a crap about the romance subplot between him and Lana. Never have.
Oh, they screwed that up, man. They're like, Lana's got this suit that's made of kryptonite, and so he can't ever see her again. I was like, what?
They meet each other again, even in the original comics and in the original movies. They still wind up meeting each other, getting to know each other again. I don't know if they get back together in any way, shape, or form, because frankly, they were mainly just friends with kind of a light bit of flirtation. But I just didn't care for it. I don't care for any prospect of a will they, won't they mentality. If you're going to date somebody, date somebody.
And then they hooked up Chloe with the Green Arrow,
which makes no sense because it's Oliver Queen. You've got Oliver Queen and you have Dinah Drake.
Yeah.
AKA the Black Canary. Those two go together chicken and potato wedges.
Yeah,
chocolate and peanut butter. Chocolate and mint. Chocolate and caramel. Chocolate and strawberries.
Oh, man. It was
chocolate and pretzels. Neapolitan and non-dairy ice cream.
Plus, I really like Chloe. I always thought she was my favorite. And then I found out what she did in real life. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. She got involved with like that weird sex cult or whatever.
Which frankly, I don't understand. I don't understand the prospect of having a cult. I don't understand the prospect of a sex cult. Mainly because it's just that shit.
It's Chloe. Like she's not even like I like her because she was kind of like the cute little friend, that always liked him. That and then she finally realized that he's never gonna fall in love with her,
which is understandable. But then just move on. Be that friend, be that ally. But frankly,
that's when she finally falls in love with Green Arrow,
which makes no sense.
And then like she sacrifices herself or something. I don't know. It was strange. And then they brought in like the kid Lucifer, or not Lucifer. I'm sorry, Lex Luthor.
Narrative inconsistencies are just weird.
But I used to love that show so much.
That's why you should plan things out.
Yeah.
I
think what it became so popular they didn't want to get rid of it.
I mean,
we can't end this yet. Let's keep making up different show, and they kept coming out with seasons, and people were like, okay.
I mean, they didn't have to get rid of it, but having a sequel series is far better than just prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah,
that's why Naruto died as hard as it has, because nobody gives a shit about his son.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do something like that, but you gotta be smart about it.
Yeah.
You do. Like
you have to grow that character. You have to get people to fall in love with that character before just being like, I'll fall in love with this character just because he's Naruto's son.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't give people to fall in love with them.
No.
All right, like Gohan. People fell in love with Gohan. You know why? Because they showed him as a baby. They worked him up. They brought his character up. People love Gohan. I love Gohan.
And they wasted him.
But then they wasted him because
of his Gohan and
technically because of his mom. Let's be real. His mom fucked up that character.
Well, Goku didn't do him any favors.
No, Goku should have fought for.
Like as it stands, Goku has three settings. I am going to make a baby with my wife. I'm going to fight. I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
And everybody loves all three of those things.
Despite the fact that, as it stands, I don't really like Goku.
I'm not.
Narratively speaking, it makes more sense for Goku to have bowed out at the end of the Cell arc like he did, have Gohan and the rest of the Z fighters handle Majin Buu, and then have him come back.
I just don't like how Goku has no limits to his power.
He has. It's not that
he has limits, but they just keep.
Yeah,
they just keep boosting.
He's a limit breaker. Whatever limits he has, he will break them.
Yes.
Yeah. Until literally gods are like, "Oh my god."
Wouldn't it technically be "Oh my me" if it's a god?
I guess.
Get it? Yeah. "Oh my me." Anyway, but I understand completely what you're saying, Nathan. It's just.
Yeah. Anyways, so what are you guys doing recently? I know, Will, you've been doing different sword playthroughs, if I remember right.
Yes, I just got done with finishing posting my Pokemon Sword stuff, and I'm going to be starting Pokemon Shield. I'm doing it, I think, in I'm debating on whether or not I should do it in like a quick movie format, because really, the only things that are different, 2 of the gyms and the respective gym leaders, because you have in the 6th gym and in the 4th gym.
Yeah, Nathan got Shield and I got Sword.
Have you seen the gym leaders from Shield yet?
I know there's a Ghost and there's another one. Ice.
I like Shield. I mean, it's pretty good.
Like, I don't have a camera, but I would show you the poster I got for my time when I will
say I'm not happy that I couldn't play Charizard until the end of the game. I was very sad about that.
That's understandable.
I was very, very sad. And the fact that
you have to work to the bone to get any type of legend, to get any type of
any good Pokemon from like the old days. That's what I wanted to try. And they just took them, they just destroyed them. Like,
yeah, they didn't put them in. A lot of the ones they didn't put in. That was kind of sad.
I'm just glad that I can go through Pokemon Sword or Shield with the Sword/Shield Pokemon, aka Aegislash. That's all I wanted, and they gave me that. I spent the last... Let's see here. When was... So, last Tuesday until Saturday...
I also didn't really care for the backstories on either the Sword and the Shield.
I like the prospect of there was a war that happened in Galar long time ago. It's the same war that's talked about in X and Y. But the thing is that there's not enough. We're not there. We have not seen anything. Show, do not tell.
Right.
And what we got of the possibilities of the Darkest Day were really fascinating. Rampaging giant Pokemon. You can do a lot with that. You can do a lot with that. And my biggest issue with that is that just have the plot be you're a Pokemon trainer, you're getting Pokemon, you're fighting the gyms, you're fighting the gym leaders, you're either going to go against the Elite Four or do the Champion Cup. That is perfectly fine and that works. Everything else can be post-game. To be perfectly honest. Because frankly, I liked the villains in this game were probably the most human I've ever seen in Pokemon, and I love that. But what Chairman Rose was gunning for was perfectly understandable. I'm down with it. Endless energy, prosperity for all. That you can get. That's something anyone can get behind. But the execution of it was so bad that he almost doomed the world.
He knew it too. It was weird. He can screw up.
And I get it. He felt like it was his job because he went from he was a coal miner, pretty much. He mined for minerals with his Caparaja, and over time, with his skill, charisma, and talent as both a Pokemon trainer and as just a businessman, became richer than God, for lack of a better term. And it's just the fact that he went that far, I think, is a part of the narrative because the whole theme is community, family.
Yeah.
How far would you go for your family? Is the message pretty much.
Yeah.
And that ties in, which is fine, but it would have made more sense for that to have happened after you fight Leon and become champion, which is why I'm just gonna I'm cutting that from my Shield run through. I'm gonna show the gym fights that I want to show, and the championship cup in the post game.
The championship cup was kind of cool that you played against all the different trainers and different things. And it was pretty neat. I'll say it was pretty neat.
And granted, I did not like the post game because
I didn't really care for post game.
Gordon Shield brothers are the epitome of everything I despise in humanity.
They were dumb looking, their hair was it's a Shield and Sword.
I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist with better hair than that.
It just made me sad. When I saw those bad guys, I was not happy.
Yeah, because I get it. They're trying to reinstate the honor and nobility of their family, but trying to
destroy their world while doing so. So I just
not put in the effort.
Yeah, there's no effort from them.
They feel like just because their ancestors, which I'll get into possibly later, that just because their ancestors did something, they're entitled to the wealth and the bounty.
Yep.
That's not how that works.
Nope.
No.
I'm not entitled to my mom's doctorate. I'm not entitled to my dad's old Mustang. I'm certainly not entitled to the positions that any of our ancestors within the service had. If I did, I wouldn't be looking to work at a Safeway. Which working anywhere is honorable work. Just putting that out there. But still, you get what I mean? And to top it all off, I mean, I just don't like their hair. The hair is the biggest thing.
And I was so dumb looking. I was like,
they're really stupid looking. That's the biggest thing. I mean, the hair I don't like either.
And
whole persona of them, I hate the whole persona of them.
Yeah,
I really do.
If you're gonna have anything in life,
they did it on purpose. They're like, let's make these guys royalty and make them as annoying as fucking possible. So people are just like,
and I'm
Jesus Christ.
Like, I am like 90% sure that most people that are of royal lineage do not act that way, because there's a certain level of decorum, respect, and demeanor that you need to have. You know,
some do. I know.
I mean, I'm sure that there are some, and there were some that acted retarded as fuck. Actually, I know there is, because in the Roman times there really was.
The War of the Roses was nothing more than an overly elaborated, elongated version of Family Feud.
Yep, pretty much.
Like, granted, we got Game of Thrones and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Rose thanks to that.
I will say the Game of Thrones was good up until the very last season, which was
I stopped giving a damn after season 3.
I couldn't ever get into it.
I loved it up until the last season.
Because
everybody did. I couldn't get into it because something happened when I tried to watch the first episode, and it ruined it for me.
What happened?
What happened?
Maybe you don't remember that story? Oh, pretty much. I was staying at mom and dad's house during the summer break, and I bought the first season of DVD.
Ooh, this is Chuck related. I can assume where this
is going. Shelly related.
No, I sat down, I put it in. I don't know anything about Game of Thrones. A lot of people said it was great. Watch it's really cool fantasy, knights, and all kinds of stuff. I was like, okay. So I started watching it. My mom comes in, she's like, what are you watching? I was like, oh, it's called Game of Thrones. She's like, oh, can I watch with you? I was like, sure, why not?
Oh no.
So she sat next to me, we're watching, and then it comes that scene.
Well, it's not as bad as the actress herself watching with her parents while she was completely nude. Did you guys hear about that? No, that was hilarious because she was watching an episode. The actress, Emma, what's her name?
Amelia Clark.
Yeah, Amelia was watching an episode with her father and mother in the room, and she didn't recognize the episode right away until as soon as she saw it, she's like, and she was completely nude, just sitting in front of them and watching them right next to her. I was like, that's...
Yeah, literally, it was a scene where like the boy is climbing the side of the tower or whatever.
You see
her getting this brand. Yeah, literally getting railed out, and I was sitting there like,
I guess there's nothing more awkward than watching a scene of incest with your mom.
That too.
I feel terrible for saying that.
I was like, and then like the kid falls off and gets like injured, and my mom's like,
he gets paralyzed.
Yeah, my mom looked at me and she's like, well, I was like, take out, throw away.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, he later on used.
It wasn't very good. I mean, it's a good series, but they just.
In the end, he became king. Through some arbitrary, ham-fisted bullshit.
What the? Are you talking about the last season?
Oh, very much so.
Oh god, that was so bad.
Supposedly the guy.
I actually don't mind him being king. I really didn't.
Certainly do, for 3 reasons. Jon is still breathing, and frankly, if I was Daenerys after all of that crap, I wouldn't have burned the entire city. I would have accepted the surrender and just burnt the throne and just pieced off back to Dragonstone.
Yeah, but she did it out of anger, which everybody was mad about too.
Which is bullshit.
And then the entire, I don't know, that entire
smarter
fighting.
Than that. She is smarter than that. Everyone is smarter than the dumb choices they make after season 3.
I just.
Well, you think about it,
there's so much that could have been done with that, though. There's so much good stuff that could have happened, and they flopped. They flopped the entire thing. I was like, "What is this? This last season that everybody was hyped up about for 2 years because it took them that long to write this bullshit." I was just.
Well, if you think about Dave, and what was the guy's name? Dave, and it was the 2 brothers that were the showrunners.
Were they brothers?
I think so, aren't they? Dave and whatever his name is. I thought they were brothers.
Let's just call them Dave and Bustard. I don't remember their names.
But yeah, they were. What happened was
Dave and Buster's is actually fun.
Dave and Buster's is great. I love Dave and Buster's.
But yeah, they were the 2 showrunners.
Mike, Daniel, have you ever been to a Dave and Buster's?
I don't know.
Probably not. But there's one in Kansas City, and I love it.
It was during my convention going days.
If you don't know, the last book, The Game of Thrones, isn't out yet. Technically, he's still writing. Yeah, he's still writing.
He's working on Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring.
And so the showrunners, instead of waiting for him to tell them what was supposed to happen, they just did it themselves.
But they wound up just watering.
They destroyed the entire series. From one season, destroyed the entire series of everything that was great about it. And
they didn't want to do it anymore. You know, there's a lot of interviews with them. There's like they got bored of it. They wanted to get away. They got invited to do the Star Wars. They were supposed to do a Star Wars trilogy next. That was supposed to be what they did.
I don't want them to touch any more fantasy stuff.
No, they got kicked out. They're not doing Star Wars anymore. Netflix paid them like $500 million to do one of their shows.
Whatever.
So
which show was it?
They said peace out, Star Wars. So.
Was it Kingdom? Because Kingdom was actually not bad.
I have no idea.
I don't know if you guys have seen Kingdom yet, but
which one? The one with Mark Hamill or the Korean show?
No, the one with Mark Hamill.
Okay. Both of them are good, by the way. Like, if you don't, to make a long story short, I don't like zombie stuff at all. Most of it I view as
Kingdom didn't have zombies in it.
I know. I'm talking about the Korean one.
Oh, okay.
Long story short, alchemical process went real bad, real fast. But it makes sense, and it worked, and it was for the most part, enjoyable time for me, which is rare because I don't care for zombie stuff.
Very rarely.
I'm not big on zombies. I'm okay. Some zombies, if they're written correctly, are okay. If they're written really bad, they suck. I will say the very first 2 seasons of what's that show that everybody loves? The Walking Dead was written very well. The last of them it failed.
I thought it was okay. I just never got into it.
I never gave a shit about The Walking Dead back when I first read the comics, and I didn't give
actually liked the first season and the second season a lot.
I didn't give a shit about the games.
Everything else was just bad. Everything else they did was just bad. It was just the same thing over and over again.
I like Norman Reedus. I mean, he killed it, and he
did a great job.
But I'd sooner see him in everything else. Like Death Stranding. He was great in that. And again, everyone was really good in that game, given the fact that it's a Kojima game. Yeah,
Kojima. You either like it or you hate it. That's Kojima for you. Yeah. He does some weird ass shit.
And bless his heart for doing it. That's why I prefer people like him and like Yoko Taro and Tetsuya Nomura, because they will go wherever their brains take them, even if it's super weird. Like if you've like Drakengard 1-3, super weird, really sexual, but really good. And like Nier and Nier Automata, really good.
I haven't played Nier Automata yet, and I really want to.
I recommend it. All I can say about it, without really spoiling anything, is Spark Notes. Really good. You're gonna question a lot of things. The character that you'll be playing as for the first good chunk of it has a really nice butt. Aside from that, beat bop short dudes POV, and become as gods.
Yeah.
When you figure out that reference, you're probably going to hate me for it. But that's about it. I
gotta figure out how to do my Nintendo Switch stream so I could do some Nintendo.
You guys have a video card for that? Or a capture card?
I got an Elgato.
Yeah, that's probably why. That's probably what you need. Elgato.
I don't know what that is, so.
It's a capture card.
Elgato is a company, and they make capture cards, they make soundboards, switches, HDMI cables, green screens, and I believe as well as cameras. And they do it for live streaming and stuff as such. I myself have an Elgato HD60S, and I've had it for over a year now.
I've heard that Elgatos are really
good.
I'll have to look into it. Because
they are a little expensive, though. I will say.
I did a couple streams on my PS4.
Are they like a couple $100?
I dropped 120 on this thing. Yes.
That's not bad. For a capture card, that's not bad. That's not bad.
No, it ain't. It ain't
bad if I did that.
Can we all at least be happy that Retro Studios is still working on good stuff? Retro Studios is the group that made Metroid Prime. And they're working on Retro Studios, I believe, also either helped or did stuff with Breath of the Wild, I think, because they're a subsidiary of Nintendo. So, I think. But aside from that, we're getting a Metroid Prime 4. I don't care how long I have to wait. I'm fine with waiting for like 10 years, because Metroid Prime was the reason I got a GameCube. That, and it was Metroid Prime, and it was Skies of Arcadia Legends. And those two are two of my 5 favorite games. Like, par none.
Yeah, I got my Switch because of Pokemon.
Perfectly understandable. I did the same thing.
Because I like the older stuff better, though. I don't know why, but X, Y, and that stuff was way better, I think, than Sword and Shield. But Sword and Shield is kind of a disappointment for me, because I expected so much more. And then it was like they did the very least possible. And this makes
me think, what the crap are they really, like, what are they really planning with the DLC? That's what I'm wondering about.
Yeah, I was also pissed off that the DLC, and then they talked about how they were coming out with Pokemon Bank, and everybody was kind of excited. And they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be $15 a month," and everybody's like, "What?"
I mean, I don't pay a dime for any of it. I only capture like 5 Pokemon plus the legendary, depending on the game. So I usually don't care. And depending on the game,
you can put all your Pokemon for X and Y into there, and then you can put them into this game. I was like, okay, well, that'll be all right if you can do that.
Of Pokemon, I have never played Ruby. Okay, so I have played all of this bit of Ruby. I fought the Elite Four with my buddies Groudon and Blaziken. And this was during year 3 of my standard schooling, so 3rd grade, summer of 03, Boy Scout camp. That's it. That's all I know about. So
you never played blue, yellow, red, silver?
Oh no, I played, aside from Ruby, I have played every single Pokemon game that there is.
All right.
Yeah. I played Ultra Sapphire not too long ago. I was playing the crap out of that one.
In fact, I have, or had, I think my mom still has it. I have the Pikachu Nintendo 64 somewhere. Just to show the level of love I have for Pokemon. Like, one of the posters I have up, 2 of the posters I have up are from midnight releases of Pokemon Shield and Pokemon X and Y, respectively.
I think they said something about doing a new remake of something that has been hinted.
We might be getting a remake of Generation 4, which is Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. So Sinnoh region. Which, I mean, granted, of the various games that we've had where, the legendaries are quite literally larger than life, you can't go bigger than time, space, antimatter, and creation.
Yeah.
I mean, they do that in regards to Sun and Moon, well, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, thanks to Necrozma. But I don't want to play through that game ever again. Like, this is coming from someone that has read over 100 plus webcomics, most shonen manga, and the entirety of the Universal Century, and a good chunk of Warhammer 40k. And I mean, and most, if not the entirety of the Horus Heresy in 40k.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into. I gotta get into 40k. I've been looking at the models and stuff, the prices, and because I want to do the models. I want to do live streams while I do the models and talk to people.
I recommend it.
And I just look at the prices. I was like, I can't afford
it is not. It is not a. Warhammer is a rich man's game.
Oh yeah, but I like, because if you ever watch I
just can't get into the Total Wars. I'm not big on Total War.
That's understandable.
I'm just not a fan of Total. The way Total War. I'm more of a fan of Age of Empires type games than I am of Total War. Type games.
But if it's Warhammer 40K isn't really just Total War though. It's mostly built on a tabletop.
Yes, it is.
And they have
a lot of lore.
Yeah, a lot of lore to it. And I was watching. If you ever see as Hill versus Babyface, he does live streams where he does the Nurgle, and he has like the Nurgle army or something like that. He paints, and his looks sweet. I was like, man,
like as flawed as the Imperium of Man is in 40K, I could never see myself. Well, I could never see myself playing any of the Xenos, any of the aliens, really. And when it comes to like the meta stuff, the only chaos of the 4 chaos, lords that I could ever run with would be Khorne, because I understand the virtue of just hack and slash and getting really, 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 really mad.
Yeah, I was thinking either doing Orc because I thought they were funny, or
Orc makes sense.
One of the
Orc makes a lot of sense.
Knights, Fallen Chaos. What do you call them? Chaos.
The Chaos Marines.
Yeah, Chaos Marines. I thought about doing those too because I thought they were cool looking. But other than that,
do you want the angry people, the lazy people, the horny people, or the nerds? And there is a difference between all 4.
Yeah, I saw the one that they talked about the what was it? It was the crazy, the elvish people are like
the Tau,
super horny, super creepy people.
Yeah, the Tau are the reason why half of the crap that's happening is there, because they're the ones that created Slanesh.
Yeah,
which is the creepy him, her, Schlim, whatever it is. And I don't know how the others were spawned over time, but I believe Slanesh was the first. And with a name like Slanesh, it just sounds gross. It's like Nurgle is disgusting, and Siege is just a giant bird nerd. At least Khorne has some modicum of like, I'm only here for a good fight, and stay mad, get mad, stay mad, and just move on.
Yeah, I thought the Orcs were pretty funny though, because it's like everything is going on in space and craziness, and then there's the Orcs who are just like, we steal stuff and make it work somehow.
That's because you put an Orc against a Space Marine. The Space Marine will fire at him until they have no more ammo in their boltcaster. They will then throw said boltcaster at the Orc. The Orc will take the boltcaster, fire it, and for some reason it will work.
Yeah.
Because they're just fueled by the greatest power ever, imagination.
Yeah.
And I wish
I was hilarious because they said, like, I was watching guys play and they're like, yeah, Orcs are like, you're either going to win or you're going to lose. It's 50-50. But they're the funnest thing to play with because nobody cares. Like, Orc players are just like, I'll win or I'll lose, whatever. But I'll have fun doing it. And I was like, I thought the Orc things were like pretty cool looking. So
it's one of the funnest ways to play the game from what I have observed. Either that or like, to start, I would advocate like Orcs or just pick a Space Marine chapter. You can do a lot with those guys.
Like regular Warhammer, they have like the undead and cool. Those things look cool. The models,
the treants, the vampires.
Yeah, the bug of the 40K looks sweet. Like the models look freaking.
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh, those would be cool. Like a big one, like right back there, would be freaking sweet.
Games Workshop will bleed you for every penny, but dang it, their model game is on point.
I was looking at them. I was like, oh, I want that. I'm not gonna buy it right now because like I don't have the money to.
But
one day.
As for now, when it comes like doubling back over now to DC, I am hopeful for Stargirl. I believe that Batwoman is either going to die a very unfortunate death, because it seems
terrible.
Because
they would have to get a whole new showrunner. They'd have to
the thing is, how do you ruin Batwoman? Just It's Batman, but make him a ginger,
hot
former Green Beret lesbian. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, you can if you're like, Batman's stupid. And tell him that first, all I had to see was that first little scene where she's like, the guy's like, she's like, we need to change the bat suit. The guy's like, it's perfection. She's like, not until a woman wears it. I was like, done. I'm out.
Despite the fact that, despite the fact, you've got like Cassandra Cain, aka the Black Bat. You've got Batgirl. You've got the entirety of Batman Incorporated. Just because you have the epithet of Batman, Batgirl, or say Spider-Man / Spider-Woman doesn't mean that you're beholden to a guy. That's bullshit. And besides,
and then I guess the last episode literally had like 6 lesbians. 6. It's like, how many lesbians do we need in a show? I don't know. Let's put all of them in there. Like, Jesus Christ. And then like the showrunner was, I guess, did an interview, and she's like, I know what the fans want from the second season. Lesbian pirates. And everybody's like, no.
I can understand where they're coming from, but it's all in the matter of intent and execution. And frankly,
like, they already did that. It's called Pirates movie.
Why you gotta be so?
I just don't get why you have to bring sex in that. Literally all of that stuff.
I mean, technically, when it comes to Batgirl, well, Batwoman, technically, her sexuality is a portion of her identity / character, and there are negative and positive connotations with that, I guess. But speaking as someone who does not care, has never cared, if you have feelings for someone, just don't be a creep about it.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done the show like, hey, she's at some point she's got a girlfriend.
Yeah,
and they said the girlfriend would be a cool character to have in there, but not the entire fucking show. Is her. I slept with this character, and then I slept with this character. Oh, and that villain who was killing people, I let her go because she was also a lesbian.
Have them have a genuine, healthy relationship.
I agree.
Oh,
it's not hard to write a healthy relationship.
I do feel bad for Ruby Rose, though. She looks super unhealthy. I saw this one picture of her like in a wheelchair, and she looks so.
She got very injured.
I know. Even then, she still looked like she was like you could snap her by just like flicking her. I'm like, okay, girl.
She is a fairly short person, so
I know. But still, that's that's just way too skinny. Her arms were like that. I was like, okay, girl, put on some meat a little bit. You don't need to
be a mixture due to the injuries. It could be a mixture of just the stress from it all, because not everyone needs, even if you're a good actress, and she does, like, as far as actors go, she kicks a lot of butt in the things I've seen her in. She was really good in John Wick 2. But the fact of the matter is not everyone needs to be an A-list actor, or rather, no one needs to be in a lead role constantly.
Yeah,
because it's like being a leader or being the president or having the first seat in like a band. It's not fun. Because you got to be at peak performance at all times. That's not fun. That's not fun at all.
You guys got Mario Party at all?
No. I've got. I have that I own. I've got Pokemon Shield, and that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Aside from that, the games that you see before you are just games that I'm borrowing from my roommates. Cheap, and they're willing to let me borrow stuff.
It'd be cool if we could do like a Mario Party like live stream to get all together or something. But I had to get like a capture card, I guess. Because I know Geeks and Gamers, they've been doing the Mario Kart live streams, and they've been having a lot of fun doing that. And it's hilarious watching the videos because Ryan from RK Alphas is like, every time he loses, he's like, whoa! Love you, Ryan. If you ever see this, pretty cool dude. But the clips I got of him are so funny. He's one of those guys that like he'll he's a terrible loser and terrible winner at the same time. but it makes it so much funnier watching. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. You know, if we could ever get that going, that'd be awesome. Like a Mario Party or one of my characters that actually represents me is on Mario Party. It's the
Is it Toad?
No, not Toad.
Is it Wario?
It's the beaver. What's his name? I put it on the other day. I can't think of it. Can't think of his name.
Granted, the last Mario game I played was Super Paper Mario on the Wii. So
yeah, he like drums his belly. He's like a beaver. And he's like throughout the game he does it. My kids were laughing. They're like, "Oh my god, it's you!" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Do it, do it!" And I'll be standing like, and they're like, "Yes." You're that character from now on.
I can happily say that of the characters from Mario, I'm glad that I'm Luigi because I understand the gravity situations. I am usually scared when things get weird, but I still get the job done.
Yeah, I create a character. I create one of those. What do you call those characters? The
Mii's.
Yeah, mine has like a beard. He's got like really weird. Like he's got like this like I don't care eyes. And I have him like laying down on the side, like he's like in the sexy pose. She's like, but he looks like he doesn't give a crap about anything. Oh, I laugh every time I look at it. I'm like, oh, yes.
To this day, I'm still wondering when it comes to like, with Mario, like Mario, like Super Mario in general. So. In Super Paper Mario, Bowser and Peach technically get married to start the whole debacle with like the main antagonist in Super Paper Mario. And then the entire game goes through and you go through different worlds and you actually you save a lot of people. You save the entirety of creation. But at the end of it, were Bowser and Peach still married? Because they try to get married within Mario Odyssey, which again never played.
I did play though. That's pretty good. But yeah, he like tries to force her to marry him.
Technically speaking, wouldn't they already be married? And as it stands, since Mario himself has no legitimate claim to any form of royalty, he has no right to do so. Like by right, Bowser's a catch. He's got his own kids already, so you don't have to worry about mixing your genes if you don't want to. He's a very attentive father, and he's a king. He's loaded. And aside from Mario, like not many people can beat Bowser. And not many people want to throw hands with a giant turtle dragon.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't too bad. I enjoyed some of that game. It was too short though. Like, it really was. Like, you beat the game, you're like,
it's a collectathon. It's like Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper and parts of Jak and Dexter and almost the entirety of the greatness that is Banjo-Kazooie. You collect crap. And you explore.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about, man.
Jak and Dexter's were pretty good though. First one was it's definitely, but by the third one they really came into their own.
My only question when it came to Jak and Dexter, now,
granted, I like Ratchet and Clank a little more than Jak and Dexter, but I still like them all.
I like all three of they were the big three of the Sony mascots for the PS2. But granted, I liked Sly Cooper more because you can go from 1 to 3 and have it be really solid. It's just the fourth one that doesn't make a lot of sense. Because, why when you have a good solid narrative, why put time travel? And specifically, why put time travel in the way of you can't pull it back to the future? You should always be able to pull it back to the future. Kingdom Hearts pulled it back to the future just recently. Because, things are weird and Tetsuya Nomura is just a mad scientist, I guess.
And I like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I never played 3 yet. I never played the other ones.
The actor for Doc Brown plays Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's nice. But
I had to like really get to know what the stuff, because I like Kingdom Hearts 2 really. That was my favorite one.
And then Kingdom Hearts #1 was my favorite.
If you guys both want to know what's going down with Kingdom Hearts, I'm going to be going through them very soon.
Okay.
And I am perfectly fine to answer every single question you guys have, because I don't have a life and I don't date. So I have nothing but lore knowledge, you know?
Yeah, like I know they had like the PSP games and they had a bunch of other stuff. And so like, I was confused on like where the heck they were at. And I was like, what?
Pretty much from the events of Birth by Sleep to Kingdom Hearts 3, it's been roughly 12 years in total. Like in their world, it's been 12 years. So Sora's about 15 going on 16 as of Kingdom Hearts 3. Pretty much. Now, like throughout like the back lore and such, it's been several millennia, countless things have happened, and it's all been observed by one really laid back dude. Two really laid back dudes.
Yeah.
Because pretty much back in the day, before the worlds were divided, there was a man who had the title of Master of Masters. Now, we do not know his name, but I'm assuming it's probably something based off of the word light because of reasons. He had 6 students. He forged most of his Keyblade is not the original Keyblade, as the original Keyblade was manifested from Kingdom Hearts itself. Thus, it's called the Keyblade. So, but he created all the other Keyblades as a way to be like, well, the Keyblades that we've seen as a way to, you know, copy and emulate the power of the original Keyblade.
Yeah.
In doing so, he created one and imbued one of his eyes in it. Basically, crazy magic, alchemy, whip-de-woo. His sword can now, as long as the Keyblade is intact and passed on, he can see everything the wielder of that Keyblade sees, thus retroactively seeing the future. So basically, he has a sword that can see the future. And he passed that on to his 6th student, and he told him, take this box, get out of Dodge. Weird things are going to happen. Pretty much. And that 6th apprentice, he left. He got out of Dodge. He left, as he should have. Then the other 5 apprentices basically were charged with staying out of trouble. However, trouble ensued, a war happened, the world got shattered into the incalculable pieces that are in Kingdom Hearts, and a lot of people died. A lot of people died. And since then to now, everything that's happened has been observed by this Keyblade that's been passed on generation to generation to generation in an unbroken chain. And the last wielder that had it is Xehanort. And he decided, the world is a problem. I'm going to either fix it or die trying. And he fixes it or dies trying several times. Because when you become a Keyblade Master, you can either send your heart into other vessels, thus having an immortal consciousness, or sending your heart throughout the timelines freely, except you can go forward or back as long as you have a vessel that can contain your heart waiting for you. It's like the Matrix, pretty much. As long as you have a place to upload your consciousness, you'll be fine, pretty much. But that's what Xehanort planned to do, to either fix the world or die trying. And then Birth by Sleep happened, hilarity ensued, the Keyblade was the original Keyblade was reforged, but then got broken again because, you know, the power of Mickey Mouse and 3 anime dudes. After that, Kingdom Hearts 1 happened 10 years later. But for the actual story, just keep an eye on my channel. I'll be starting them up in July.
Yeah.
July or June, actually. Wait. Tomorrow's the 26th. I get started with Breath of the Wild, so
nice.
I'll be doing Shield and Breath of the Wild for a year.
I never finished it though. I got to like where I got the Master Sword. I was about to go face the guy, and then I was trying to get where you have to do like these battles to keep improving Master Sword. Yeah, and I was just like, okay, and then I kind of got into other things, and I just never finished it.
Understandable. I played like the first 15 minutes of it, and that's about it.
Yeah,
like
the suckiest thing about it is your weapons break. Even
I'm fine with that. It's a big game.
I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with weapons having.
I hated that because
I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, so I'll be back.
Yeah, go ahead. I hated it. Like, it's fine if it's like crappy weapons, but like when you get like really cool weapons and they break, you're like, damn it. And then you get your Master Sword, you're like, finally. And then it like, if you use it too much, it'll disappear, and you have to go back to the forest to get it again. And it's like dumb, so dumb. I'm like, that's the one weapon that should not have a limit to it. I was like, but yeah, it was a good game though. Other than that. And they're breaking a new.
I mean, there's wear and tear. I think that weapons shouldn't have limits, but they should have like where you have to sharpen them and take care of them every time. Otherwise,
repair them and stuff. That's fine, but these ones just break. Use them till they bust.
I'm annoying because that would be RNG.
Yeah, I just didn't like it because it annoyed me.
RNG, like you just randomly have your sword break after 5 swipes with it.
Oh, yeah, some were horrible. Like if you hit a certain target with a weapon, it could break in like 2 or 3 hits. You're like, all of a sudden you're like, no weapons. You're like,
that would be annoying.
Shit.
That's not like realistic at all. If it's somewhat realistic, then fine, but that's just not realistic at all.
Yeah. So the boss fights are pretty cool. I had one that pissed me off knowing. Finally, it took me like 3 hours to finally kill this thing. I kept dying over and over. I finally figured it out, and finally I just nailed it. I was like, "Oh my god, I won!" It's like Dark Souls level hard. And I was like, "Jesus Christ, I'm done." I was like, "I gotta put it down now, and I need to take a break." Oh, that was horrible. But yeah. But yeah, what are you doing, Nathan?
I'm just playing a game while we're talking.
Playing Variant or whatever.
No.
Vigilant.
I'm playing Rocket League right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those Geeks and Gamers guys were talking about trying to do a Rocket League Rocket League thing, and I was like, my brother does that.
Rocket League's fun. I mean, it's definitely difficult, very hard, but it's fun.
Yeah, they were doing the Switch stuff, and now they're talking about doing the Rocket League.
Rocket League, you have to, unless you're like just really good at it, it's very difficult to learn. And there's just so many aspects and so many things. Like the most pros didn't go pro until after about 5,000 hours of playing Rocket League.
Jesus.
Yeah, because that's how long it takes to like get good at the game.
Yeah, I'm just.
There's just so many like different strategies and stuff you can do.
We could talk about the book a little bit. We could talk about where we're at. I know we're editing chapter 6 now. I think we're on. Yeah. So. Yeah.
It's hard to talk about the book because you can't really go into.
No, you don't want to spoil anything. As we know, we're editing. Hopefully, we'll have it out by December. We broke it in half. I did decide that, so it will end a little bit differently than we previous had. But I had a feeling that if we did it together, it'd have been like way over 1,000-page book.
Which is fine. I mean,
It's fun. A lot of people aren't going to want to buy a 1,000-page book, especially the first volume. They're going to be like, well, I don't know about this book. It looks really big. Plus, it'll be like $20, and no one wants to spend $20 on a paperback book, So we decided that it'd be better to break it into 2 parts. That way we could delve into the second part a lot more than just a couple chapters. And this way I can really extend a certain portion of the book. Plus it won't be, it'll still end, like it won't be bad. Like it won't just end and you'd be like, well, okay, what's next? It'll end in a way where it'll be fulfilling, and then we'll have hopefully the next book out within the same year. Since it's broken in half, a lot of it will be already kind of written out. So we'll be able to just get fine tune the second part, edit it real quick, and then get it out. Hopefully, like 6.
I also have to figure out how long the battle scenes should be.
Yeah.
Are we gonna make them like Dragon Ball Z battle scenes, or are we gonna make them like?
No, we're not gonna like stretch them. Like I want
like Dragon Ball Z battle scenes last like 20 million episodes with one like fight, but it literally takes like 2 seconds for that one fight. But whatever.
The first war we were planning on adding into the first would only lasted like 3 chapters at first, and it was pretty much it's here, it's over. So breaking it in half is to allow me to really delve even more deeper into the war part, where we could really extend it. There'll be, instead of just having 1 or 2 battles that only last 2 or 3 chapters, we have a lot more battles and really extend what it means to fight, in this war. So we could really extend on that. We could really delve deep into like different things what we could talk about later, and then I'd have to rewrite the end of the first part so that it actually.
Hopefully, Will enjoys it. Maybe we can bring him on as a content creator / mentor for us to help us out, since he knows a lot about lore and different things.
Yeah. Help. If he wants to, if he's if he knows about editing and stuff, he can help you edit. That'd be great.
That'd be nice, especially if he doesn't have anything else to do. It'd be great to have somebody else that can edit. Well, because I have like 20 million things on my plate. Whatever.
Don't worry about it. We're not gonna get the editing done by December because I want it done, and hopefully we got to talk to my uncle because we need the cover art at least done before.
Have you even messaged him yet?
Huh?
Have you messaged him?
No, not yet. No, I haven't talked to him. I tried to on Facebook, but I don't know if he ever messaged me back. He might have. I'm terrible at messaging people. I'm terrible at getting a hold of people. Not really.
I'm taking a trip next weekend.
Yeah. We'll message him and then see how he's doing, if he's even started yet or not. Hopefully he's at least done a little bit of the characters. And then I got to figure out what we want to do for the cover art and get that done, because that has to be done before the book comes out. So front, back, and the side little thing has to be done. The side, I'm probably just going to have the name of the book, and then the front and back will be just different, like a mirror. Or what we could do, I don't know how we want to do it. We could talk about like what scene in the book we want to write out that won't be like super spoily, because you don't want like a cover art to look like this, spoil the whole book.
No.
So yeah. And then we'll work on the second book. So instead of 6 books, it'll be 7. Yay! Or more. If we had to break the second book in half too, that was. No, I doubt it. I'm back.
Hey. Speaking of your book, so I have been reading it, and I'm rereading it to get a more in-depth feel of certain things. My only major things is that some. Where am I? How's the best way to wear this? Abridging dialogue.
Okay.
Make it feel a little more organic, at least when it comes to the small bits between like Jaden, her father, in my opinion. Sorry. But aside from that, it's been interesting, and therefore I'm, I'll continue reading it and try and reinforce my opinions and refine them.
Yeah. We want good or bad,
And, yeah, we want both. And I mean, if you decide that you really like it and you want to try and help us out, we would be willing to talk to you about that too.
Of course.
There's the hard part is I'm the one that's editing it, but I have I don't know 10 million things on my table, between having a job and a wife and a kid, and then on top of that having an extra business that I run on the side and editing a book.
That's understandable.
So there are parts where I think could be better, but it's hard for me to see those. And so having a second opinion or a person that can re-edit my edits to help make it better and sound better.
Now, my command of the English language is strong, and my adherence to good grammar is paramount. That being said, though,
I use Grammarly on a lot of it, to be honest with you.
I don't have Grammarly, so.
Well, Grammarly's free, but there is a paid version, which I do have. But the free one does a lot of stuff. And then if you send me, for example, if you were to do some stuff on the free one, and then send it to me, I could re-edit some of the parts with you on the page.
Yeah. So. Speaking of which, would you like the Sparks Notes version of a story I've been brewing for the past day?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Pretty much. The following is beginning. Dude talks to his brother. They, have a back and forth about who should go to this big meeting, because apparently there is some trouble brewing in the western part of the continent that they live on. And so, between the two, the main focus character is the younger of the brothers. And he's basically decrying the fact that I should not be the one going. It should be you. Plain and simple. Or anyone else. Everyone else. Give a note to a dog, attach it to the collar, and have it go. Type of not cowardice, but simple understanding the fact that this is a big task. Are you sure you want me here? And it basically boils down between the two of them saying that it's because you have this fear. It's because of this fear of failure. It's because of this understanding the gravity of the situation, why you should go. You won't be the same when you come back, which is all the more reason for you need to do it. Okay. And basically, so going on to this meeting pretty much is more or less a mixture of a minor diplomatic debate / meeting of sorts, basically saying that you've got the span of about a year, give or take, from getting to the meeting, because the meeting itself is several months of travel time. And then from that travel time over all the way west. So for that, he goes there, travels on to the meeting point, and is basically charged with getting, there's been a tense diplomatic situation that might lead into a full-on conflict. Therefore, we need a small group, like 2 or 3 bodyguards, 4 at the most, to get these 2 delegates, who happen to be quite young, from point A to point B as safely and as fast as physically possible. And in doing so, we'll be able to hopefully ease the tension of what's going on. And I apologize I'm using such vague terms because I still don't have everyone's names down.
Oh, that's fine.
Like I said, I woke up yesterday. Well, let me rephrase that. I deep cleaned my room yesterday, so I didn't really do much. I didn't do a whole lot of thinking outside of Where does all this crap go? So once I was done with that, and around 6 o'clock yesterday evening, when I got done and passed out and woke up around 10 o'clock to do my laundry, so literally 24 hours ago is when I thought of this idea. And to describe it from there, it is someone who is desperate to do the right thing. Throughout the entire basic first book, you have someone that's, being stringently adamant to the rules, staunchly advocating, no, we are not, this isn't a vacation, this isn't a trip, you're not here to talk to people, we're here to stop the potentiality of war. Because there's and that's kind of inspired by the fact that, today was Memorial Day. And if I had things my way, people wouldn't. The only time when people would have come to blows is in a sparring match to decide, hey, you screwed up, you two fight. Whoever wins the argument, but at the end, it's still up to the courts. It's that moral victory. The equivalent of an actual moral victory. Yeah. And so, basically, the first book is them trying to get there. Hilarity ensues along the way, and the main character is injured, and in this desperation, he basically just says, go. Just go. I'll handle what I have to handle. If I can handle it, just go. And in doing so, they leave. Book ends, leaving his fate to be ambiguous. And the second book quite literally begins with him fighting for his life. And in doing so, winds up meeting someone who will play the role of a mentor and help him go on to learn something that I like to call the pulse. The pulse being electromagnetism, polarity, pretty much. And so, which can be, and I thought it would be a cool idea that the pulse is a learned ability. Anybody can learn it if they dedicate the time to it. And so, getting a crash course and being able to move metal objects with, like a focused wave of the hand and the focusing of the mind, boom, boom. And so, magnetic hilarity ensues. With the second book ending with them actually getting to the West and actually, starting to actually, reunite with the others, get things more galvanized and figuring out what the crap they're going to do. And then I would say the third book would basically be a mix of figuring out the full situation, tackling it, resolving, and, weirder things will happen later. But once this story ends, it'll end with this tale being done. And the ability of Pulse will be more, fleshed out and explained. Because I'd like to actually take that concept and carry it on to another story that I've been wanting to work on for a while, actually. And I couldn't find a thing to be like, what is my shtick? And usually for my whole side of things, I would one day hope to think that I have a magnetic personality, but in all honesty, I don't. I really don't. And I've always liked the prospect of I always like characters that have the power of polarity, like Magneto, for instance. Granted, most depictions of him, like in current comics and in most movies, is real hit or miss. Like, real hit or miss, which is a pity. But you can do a lot with polarity or electromagnetism, I mean, heck, it's gravity, it's the very stuff that our celestial bodies use to screw around with our planet. You can do a lot with that, the right circumstances come into play, you could manipulate the elements. You know, which will tie into something else later on down the road. I hope.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. But for the sake of it, and for the name of the title of the book, I'm thinking Oathkeeper.
Sounds pretty good.
Thank you. The name, I think, for the character will be Dines, or Dine, D-Y-N-E. Mainly because that it is a salute / allusion to the Dunedain from Lord of the Rings, and because the Dunedain are fascinating people. They are the people from Numenor. They are the scions of the great land of men.
Yeah,
that's where Aragorn, Faramir, and Boromir, get their lineage from, because Faramir and Boromir actually did have lineage of the Dunedain from one side or the other, I believe. So, and then you have to think of like the Danes from like House Dane of Starfall from A Song of Ice and Fire, because Arthur Dane, aka the Sword of the Morning, who was a part of the Kingsguard, So that's just my inspiration of the character of the guy's name. So
you just let me know what you think. If you see obvious errors or something, let me know.
I will honestly try my best.
Don't worry, I have English is my worst subject. Period. Spelling, don't even try me.
My worst.
Ask Nathan.
My worst skill when it came to academia was mathematics, purely because the fact that I never cared for fractions, and I still don't.
I'm not doing fractions, but I can do like other things.
I had a very strong grip on geometry, but
not geometry. I'm bad at geometry.
I enjoy it because I understand space, volume, shape. It's all that. That is my shtick, Like I used to bust tables. I know. Cleaned my room, and I reorganized everything. Like I finally have I finally got my posters up. I got my one of my swords up. Got a banner up.
I got like 6 swords in my garage because I can't put them up anywhere.
I have
sucks
5, but one of them's still in the closet because
I want to get some real ones.
I would have to get like a rack or something.
I got them, but I can't keep them. I gotta get rid of them.
Why?
You got kids. I used to have them on the wall, and my
teach them proper.
youngest tried to grab it off the wall. My wife's like, "Nope, they go to the garage."
Teach them proper knife safety, and you should be fine.
Yeah,
just like guns, man. Just like guns.
I know.
In my opinion,
my wife's too scared that the kids are gonna knock it off the wall.
Well, as long as the swords are sheathed.
I say that. I say to that.
And I mean, Darwinism.
There's this great psychologist that came up with this idea.
Darwinism at its finest.
Darwinism.
Like you can tell the kid, hey, don't put your hand on the skillet.
Don't put your hand in the fire. But whatever.
It's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah.
And it is all the better that warn them, but eventually they're just gonna do it anyway to slate their dangerous curiosity.
They cut off their arm, be like, well, you're armless.
Yeah, that's what I need.
I mean, cybernetics have improved to the point where you could get a fairly workable robot arm.
I'm gonna call you Cyberpunk Child.
I mean, they're not as like articulate as Cyberpunk or Full Metal Alchemist or Star Wars, but they're getting there.
Yeah,
they're getting there.
I've seen some of them pretty cool. But yeah, I have Cloud Sword, Buster Sword. I have.
Yeah, that's just.
Ridiculous. I think it's heavy as shit.
It's ridiculously sized. You should.
I know.
Keep that in the garage then.
I have.
The kids are smart.
Gunblade for Final Fantasy VIII.
Understandable.
I have quite a few. I have a couple that are sheathed and a couple that aren't because they're supposed to go on the wall on mounts.
Yeah.
So I have this big ass claymore that's in the sheath.
It's
fucking cool.
I've got 3 katanas.
A broadsword. That's
I think it's one of the movie replicas of Excalibur. I think.
Oh,
I got a rapier.
Oh, cool.
I think of all these things, the only thing I could add to my collection anytime soon, I don't know. Maybe like a replica of a Keyblade or something.
That'd be cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would nice. I have this one that's really cool. It's got like a dragon for like the hand guard. It's like the wings, but the knife is freaking. If you stab someone with that thing's like coming out like ever. You'd have to have massive surgery to get that thing out. Oh, it's got hooks and all kinds of shit through it.
Yeah.
Nathan knows what I'm talking about. My big ass knife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have that stupid knife that we found in your Jeep that one time that rusted as hell.
Oh yeah.
I remember after we bought your Jeep, like underneath the seat or whatever.
Oh, speaking of which, I have a. I don't know. I don't think it qualifies as a philosophical question, but what's the word I'm looking for? If you have ideas of how other series could have done their stuff, and you want to make a what-if scenario for said thing in lieu of basically it's a fan fiction, should you do that, or should you take it upon yourself to say, screw this, screw you guys, I'm gonna do it myself? Because in doing so, you could do a lot of cool things with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of fan stuff out there.
There's a lot of cool fan fiction about different.
Yeah, I mean, like
different.
What is the? I'm trying to think of like the most sterling of examples. Now, see, this is it is the worst thing that could ever happen, but it's also one of the best case. It's the worst case scenario, but it's one of the best things to ever happen. The series known as 50 Shades of Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Terrible books, terrible message, terrible scenario, terrible depiction of relationships, BDSM, all that jazz.
I've seen two of the movies.
However, they were made from a Twilight fan fiction off of the person's BlackBerry. So if you have a squeaky wheel gets oil. So I'm thinking if I were to make these what if scenarios, these overturns, if you will, and send them out there, what would happen? You
don't know.
So that's what I'm
definitely interesting
right now.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon here because we've been going 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. So
that was perfectly understandable.
So we just, we'll talk about what I'm up to. I'm almost done with my Dune book. I got like 200 pages left. I'll be doing a review on this.
Yes, the spice must flow.
Dude, this book, at first, I didn't get into it forever. Like I was reading like the first, first half of the book was like just drug on for me. It's hard to get into. And then it just clicked. And now I only want to put it down half the time. It's so dang good. Oh my God. I love this book. And I got the second one to it. So I'll be reading that. I also picked up a book you might like. Let's see if I can get it.
I can't see it.
You have to read it.
The Children of Huron.
Awesome.
I picked that up so I could read that, and I got the Lord of the Rings in actual book form. I decided not to get the audio book for the Return of the King because I kind of want to just read it myself this time.
That's understandable. It's now when it comes to the Lord of the Rings books, so that means Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King.
Yeah.
Throw away any and every preconceived notion you have for the movies.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
They're completely different. Yeah.
They're completely different.
It's just like it's the same thing with any of it. Like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Very different. The fightings are different. I will say the last battle pissed me off more than
oh yeah, no. Don't get me started with the difference. I much prefer the books of Harry Potter compared to the movies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's unfortunate
but even in the book series, the last fight between Harry Potter and Voldemort just was terrible.
Don't you mean Timmy Riddles?
It could have been a lot better. Yes, Timmy Riddles. Could have been a lot better. Like with the cloak, with all the stuff he knows and all the different spells he has. Oh my gosh, it could have been amazing.
Yeah.
So Expelliarmus, and that's it. I was like, what?
The sad thing is, Harry Potter, the boy who lived, comes from a respectable and like famous family. He's got a crap ton of money, and yet he only utilizes ones. He uses Expelliarmus, Expecto Patronum, Accio, and that's pretty much it for the bulk of it.
Yeah,
really.
I know. I was like, come on now.
I mean, he has the lightning-shaped scar. No lightning spells.
Right.
Just bolt too. Come on.
But even still, like, if you took all that in and you had him like throw on his cape and like go disappear and you see like him shooting spells in random places to see, just a lot of epic battle scenes could have been done with this, but you just don't utilize that. You don't utilize any of your resources like that. The
worst part of it is though.
So, what was that?
Now, the thing is that the best and worst thing about Harry Potter within the third book is the whole thing with the time turner. It gives a well-rounded use of, and it explains how time travel works in that series.
Right.
And, however, with the quote-unquote eighth book known as The Cursed Child, it shows that you can muddle the timeline pretty badly if you see fit. Meaning, what's stopping anybody with high enough clearance, like, say, the head of the Auror office, aka Harry Potter, after the seventh book, from grabbing a time turner, going back in time, murdering Voldemort as a baby? It's the Hitler situation. Just, or going back in time and ensuring that he gets raised by loving parents.
Right.
Because, like...
Well, I mean, if you think about it, neither did Harry Potter, and it turned out to be two very different people.
This is true.
It's all on perspective on that. But so even if you were to put them with loving parents, would that then change his whole life? You never know. That's the fun fact with perspective involved and time travel, because you never know. The scenarios can be any.
I just think between my personal opinion on, like, between the great dark wizards of Harry Potter, there's Grindelwald and then there's Voldemort. I don't care what anyone says. Grindelwald did way more stuff.
Oh yeah.
He did more. He did more for the wizarding community than Voldemort did, purely because of the fact that Voldemort just went around killing people.
He did, but then remember, Voldemort was like gone for a certain amount of time too, so there was this big absence, whereas Grindelwald didn't have that, and there's a lot more Grindelwald changed and did and created that Voldemort never touched.
For 20 years.
Other than the Cruxes, I guess you could say the Cruxes.
Which, I mean, frankly, he was trying to escape death, but he died, like, in his 60s.
Yeah.
Like, that's not old.
No. He tried to escape death by splitting himself into 7 places, and it just did not work out for him.
You want to know the real way to make yourself live forever? Be a teacher. Have a kid. Write books.
Yep.
I know at the very least...
I'm the legend.
I know for a fact I can do at least one of those things. Because... I've tried to teach. Whether or not people listen to me is entirely up to them.
Right.
I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not married, so can't get married without having a girlfriend. Can't have kids without getting married. So
never know. One day,
for me.
Never know. My saying.
I know, but I could always. I can always adopt. I know, and I could always. Yeah, mail order brides are a thing. I know that, but
yeah.
If I've learned anything in my life, I want to meet a girl that shares my likes,
right,
or at least some of my interests, or is willing to indulge in some of them, like, I don't know, books, movies, games, going out for walks, fishing, making food.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess we'll wrap it up there. Just we'll put your channels. Will, you can tell them about your channel.
Okay.
And definitely hit the subscribe button on all the Myriasphere Origins, and then also Will's channel. Will's Word, I believe. I believe I subscribed.
If you're wanting to find any of my stuff, or you like the way I talk, which if you do, why?
Hey man.
Regardless, if you want to see any of my stuff, go to Will's Word. It's on YouTube. I have a Twitter, which is I think at SimplyWill7 it's like at SimplyWill. Either way, look for the fancy W. That's my stuff. I just got done with Pokemon Sword. I'm diving into Pokemon Shield and Breath of the Wild. After that, I think I'm doing up. What other games am I doing? I know I'm going through Skyrim at least once to get that out of the way. I think I'm going through Final Fantasy 1 and then 10 and 10 2. Nice. And then Kingdom Hearts. So, a lot of stuff. It's what you do when you're stuck in a place that says everyone stay inside.
Yeah. PapaDink is pretty much, what are you on Twitter?
I'm
not Twitter, you're on Twitch, sorry.
Yeah, Twitch. But I haven't been streaming in a long time.
I'm doing stream.
I will say I am affiliated with Twitch.
I still don't know how to stream, to be honest.
Topic
for another day.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty much. I'm doing the Lord of the Rings thing. I'm still reading. I'll be doing a review of. As soon as I get done with the Return of the King, I'm going to do a full on review between the books and the movies, and so that'll be fun. I'm going to delve into that. After I'm going to finish Dune, hopefully this week, get that review out before because I did this because the movie's coming out, and so I wanted to know everything I could before I watched the Dune movie. I'm doing a gaming stream on my PlayStation with Assassin's Creed's I think it's not Origin. What is the one, the Spartan one?
Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey, that's it. Yeah, I was doing that. I did one and I deleted the second episode because my internet was lagging so bad. I made the video freaking terrible. But if the internet stays good, I'll also be trying to do Titanfall 2, multiplayer streams where I'll be, face other people and stuff like that. And Titanfall 2, which is so much fun. Titanfall 2 is freaking one of my favorites.
Random news tidbit. Apparently, Australia is beginning the trials for a potential COVID-19 vaccine. Or COVID-19 vaccine.
Nice.
I hope that the tests are both conclusive and promising because I want to get out of my house and get a job, because being an on-call housekeeper can only pay for so much stuff.
Yeah. Keep coming here to Missouri, man. We're fully open now.
Yeah.
Hey, Dune is only $10 right now.
But I like, granted, I do not like Washington that much. I also don't care for most of the crap here in Olympia, politics-wise. That being said, I enjoy my roommates and my family is here.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And
the rest of us are in Missouri. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you guys are in Missouri, but Ben and Corey are now in Washington, respectively. Cassandra's, I think, in Cali at the moment with her husband and her kids.
Ew, sorry for that. Cali's.
Yeah, Cali ain't great.
I have no desire to ever go to California.
I know Randy is somewhere. He's in Oregon, in the Portland area, and I know that Graham and Grandpa and Aunt Carolyn are all in Vancouver. So,
yeah. All right, guys. I guess we're going to wrap it up there because we're going to keep on going if we don't ever stop. So,
indeed, I'm tired. I've been up since 5. I'm going to bed.
Yeah. So, all right. Have everybody like, subscribe, share. Stay safe, stay healthy. Keep up the good fight.
Thanks for watching.
Happy true Star Wars Day, because technically, actually, 9/4 is past 25th, but 25th was the anniversary of Star Wars.
Well, it's the 25th for me because I live a few hours behind you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. All right.
There you go. That's still the 25th.
I am metaphorically living in the past.
All right. Thank you for coming, and I hope you guys watch later if you don't see this live. But all right, have a good one.
All right, take care, guys.
Yep.
Be water, my friends.
All right.